You know, every time you play Navy, I think over the last 4 years, this came down to one drive, one score, and it was obviously get that way again Saturday. I thought we did a lot of good things. They gave us some new formations, new situations, new things like that we hadn't put on film. And I told our kids that's a little bit of respect to them, that he thinks enough of you defensively and respects you enough defensively that he's going to give you a lot of new looks. And he did that, and I thought our kids did a really good job in the second half adjusting and got some different looks there for them. If we wouldn't let those two plays out I think it's the third drive of the game, then you keep the touchdown off the board and you feel really good defensively about what you did up there. I think they had 50 rushes for like 170, I think 3.5 yards a carry. So overall, a good day defensively. I think, you always want better as a coach. You always want better as players. You want to be perfect. But I think the thing that you're proud of is the effort our guys continue to give and the way they continue to fight, the turnovers we created, and some things we was able to do down the stretch there. I think we had a couple 3-and-outs to end the game. I think the fourth quarter, every snap was on our side of the 50, and our guys bowled their back and did their job there. So just really proud of them for that effort.
Coach Wilson for Tulsa, an offensive guy, has had so many different stints as far as big programs, 4 national championship appearances as an assistant. Do you kind of go back that far to try and see where his fingerprints and kind of his footprint is as an offense, and how do you approach that?
Yeah, Coach Wilson's a North Carolina guy, and former O-line guy, played at the University of North Carolina, coached at A&T, was a high school head coach here in this state. Before he took off to Miami, Ohio, and kind of created his name for himself. Ended up at Northwestern, did a really good job there offensively, and ended up at Oklahoma for Coach Stoops. And then from there was at Indiana as the head coach and had some really good offenses there. And that's obviously spent the last several years at Ohio State. So a guy that's had an awesome career. Really respect the heck out of him and what he's been able to accomplish offensively. And he's put up some good numbers this year. I think they're averaging, in the 20s, 25 points a game. He's running the ball for about 185 a game, throwing the ball for about the same. So pretty balanced attack there, and did it with some, different quarterbacks and situations that they've had happen throughout the season. But he still found a way to run the football on some pretty good football teams. So we obviously have our hands full with him and their offense. Doesn't matter who they're playing. They found a way to move the ball down the field. So our guys will be up for the challenge. I think. Our seniors get a chance to go play one more time in Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium, and this has been a special group. I know we've had some ups and downs this year, and appreciate Pirate Nation for all their support and their enthusiasm, and I always say that's what makes this place special. And just the fans, just their support they continue to give us has been great, and our guys are ready to go play their tails off one more time out there. And I think we got 5 or 6 guys that'll be their last game in Dowdy, and I know they're going to get that done. And just maybe the end result hasn't been what we wanted to on the field, but the way they come, they fight, and they play their tails off, and they work every day in practice defensively. They've set a new standard, a new expectation for what we expect to see from Pirates, Pirate defense. And just so proud of those guys that done that from where they came in, 4 or 5 years ago to where we are now defensively. And just, I think, wins and losses, you take that away, just some of the things here we'll see at the end of the season they've been able to accomplish defensively, I think is pretty special and makes this group very special. And I hope we can get a lot of people out there to support them on Saturday at 2 p.m. Because they're certainly deserving of it. And if you'll do that, I promise you those guys and those seniors will continue to fight for each other, continue to fight for Pirate Nation, and lay it all on the line for each other and play their asses off. And I know they're proud to be Pirates, and we all are, and I'm as well. So.
There's a family aspect of football with your players and your staff, and also a business side with the portal and coaching changes. So with that being said, just your thoughts on Donnie and the team parting ways after this season? Yeah,
everybody in our building, we all have each other's back, and we always a tight-knit family. No different than you are at your house, or we have our own family at home. Okay, it's pretty cool. I got 2 texts yesterday from former players, and one of them was talking about he's in the corporate world right now, and he's adjusting to the corporate world and the business side of that, and it says it's totally different than how a locker room was. And the other young man, who I never thought was truly, like a brotherhood guy, was talking about the brotherhood, of just that locker room. And it's the same thing for a coaching staff, because you spend so many hours together and you go through so many things together, and you share so many good memories, ups and downs together, and fight for each other, that you share a special bond. And every year is going to be different. You're never going to have the same team. It doesn't matter if you go win a national championship or whatever it may be. You're going to have some changes from year to year. And I think the landscape of college football is you're even seeing more and more changes because, as you mentioned, the portal and things like that. So you got to embrace the moment. You got to live in the moment. And I think that's important for all of us in life. I mean, if we don't live for the moment and doing what's important now, and we're just worried about the future or next year, then I think we're missing out. And I think, we got to take this week and a week of Thanksgiving and be thankful for the opportunity we have to be with each other, to play in Dowdy, to play in front of Pirate fans that are so passionate about this place. And that's what we got to focus on, and that's what we got to keep our eyes, forward at the front windshield, as I always say, not the rear view, and make sure we're focused on going and get the job done this Saturday. It'd be easy to get distracted this week for a lot of reasons, but we're not going to let that happen. And I think our guys have done a really good job of that this season, and focus on keeping the main thing, controlling what you control. And we're going to continue to do that this weekend. And that's controlling our effort and our attitude and our toughness and preparations for Tulsa.
Coach, as soon as the Tulsa game is over, how active are you because of the portal to try to make sure that your defensive players you have coming back, are good, happy? I mean, I don't know how NIL works with all that,
Yep.
but I mean, how active are you as soon as that last game's over?
Here's what I'm going to kind of compare it to, right? My wife, I'm not going to wake up one day and just tell her how much I love her on that single day, hoping she don't leave me, right? I'm going to make sure I love her and take care of her every single day. And she didn't marry me because, I had a lot of money. I was making no money and broke and all that. But, and that's it for everybody and everybody's spouses. You appreciate the relationship you have with somebody, and that's why you kind of hang in there with that person. And I hope that, we build a strong enough relationship in our locker room that those guys are, hey, this is something special here. Let's stick together and let's do this. At the same time, we always got to be talking, having those conversations, and if I don't take my wife out to dinner and have good dates with her, she probably will get upset, So we got to continue to do that with our young men in our building. And at the same time, we got to make sure we're adding valuable pieces to our program and ensuring those guys, hey, yeah, we got to make some changes. We got to keep moving forward. Because the second you don't look to improve your program or improve your football team, I think you're taking steps backwards. And we're always going to look to do that. And I think, first of all, it's in our building keeping those pieces together.
Like you said, you're honoring a handful of guys Saturday, but specifically Julius Wood, Jeremy Lewis, kind of the heartbeat of that defense. So what do those two guys mean to you? Yeah.
Thank God Jeremy Lewis come in Coach Houston's office and said he wanted to move to defense because he's meant a lot. Okay, and Julius Wood has too. And they're two guys that's been through a lot here. From playing part-time to going through some frustrating times to being a starter to, in my book, they're all conference type guys and guys that could play beyond here. But just the way they work out there on the practice field, the way they carry themselves, the attitude they take to this game, it's the mindset they take, and they've done everything we've asked. And you just can't say enough about those guys and my appreciation for them. I think it's one thing to stand up in front of a group of men and talk to them and ask them to do things, but it's another for them to go take that and put it into action. And those young men have done that, and that's why you're just so thankful for those young men.
Coach, it seemed like early in the season one of the things your team struggled with was letting up explosive plays. The last 3 or 4 weeks that hasn't happened. What do you think has changed to what's been the cause for that to be the effect?
Yeah, I think probably talking about the Marshall game, a couple of explosives there, and the App State game, a couple of explosives there. I think I just happened to look at them last night and thinking Coach Wilson may go back and look at those type of things and, hey, where were we? And you're exactly right. Like, a couple at Marshall, a couple at App, a couple at UTSA. Outside of that, we've done a pretty good job of keeping the ball in front of us. And I think it's one of the reasons playing pretty good defense. and keeping points off the board. And you continue that, make offenses earn it, then you can do a good job. And I think it's just a team effort. From a defensive standpoint of guys, really buying into what they're doing. I think some of it's experience too with some younger guys, some younger, corners who haven't played a lot, maybe some younger linebackers who haven't played a lot, and then you got into the season, they got that experience under their belt, and then all those guys are coming together and they're helping each other. I mean, you watch Jeremy Lewis. I mean, last week at Navy, he's calling out which way the direction of the midline's going. Hey, they're checking it this way. He gets us checked. Him and Taylor Jackson get us checked into a whole new defense, and we go hit it for a loss. And, that's the type of focus those young men have and the type of preparation those young men have. And not just those two guys, our entire defense.
Coach, final regular season game a little different this year than the past couple of years where, you're going to get ready for a month. Do you kind of blow the doors off and just really rip it this week just to kind of end it that way?
We try to do that every week. So somebody said that, like, hey, you're going to turn it loose and let it ride this week. Last one, I hear that a lot, right? But that's my mindset every week. Freaking let's go get after it. Let's turn it loose. Let's don't freaking hold anything back. Because the worst thing you can do is wake up Sunday morning and say, oh, we held this thing. We held something back. And we want to go attack these guys, get after them every way possible. Not with just the way we call the game, but the way we play the game. And that's our mindset. I talked about our seniors being their last game in Dowdy, and couldn't pick a better place to end their college career. But for every young man on our roster, you don't ever want to wake up and have thought you left something out there. You want to play every single play like it's your last play. And I know that's an old saying, but it is true. You never know when that time is going to end. And we got to go turn it loose every single snap for each other. And I think those guys have done a great job of just, playing for each other and keeping that in mind.
Any other questions? Thanks, Coach.
All right, appreciate you guys.